Good ultra late evening, everybody. This is the author Andrew Snorton. And first off, to those who are still up, like on the East Coast or what have you, thank you for taking time to join me. As you guys know, usually the Fast 15 is what we do each Wednesday, usually during the early afternoon, a little bit after 1 o'clock Eastern time. And that's our time for like a quick 15 minutes or so to kind of pause, check up, check in, enjoy a short note, and then close out, with some information and other details, different events, things along those lines. Today, the original goal was to get up and running at like 10 p.m. because of other stuff, travel that I had going on. And then the evening kind of got away and I was trying to get some other stuff done and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like 11:30ish. So with anybody who's out there, I appreciate it, and I'll share like whatever highlight clip on the different platforms. But to those of you that are out and about, make sure to add me on Facebook at the page Author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Author A Snorton. For any requests, autographed copies of the books, details about the audiobooks, getting on the distribution list, which we usually send out twice a month. Special events, speaking engagements, things along those lines, you may email me at authorasnorton@gmail.com. So again, my apologies for coming on a little bit later because I changed it from 10 to 11:15 and it's like 11:38. But just a couple of quick things. First off, as we always do, to anybody that's out there that's going through, some challenges, whether it's, whether physical health, it could be stress, mental health, it could be job related, finances, some things that you planned that didn't exactly go according to plan, things along those lines. For anyone that's out there going through a challenging time, please know that there really are people that care. Even though people are like, oh, the world doesn't care and the world keeps moving. Well, there are some parts of the world that don't care, but not all parts of the world that don't care. So just know there are people that really care, that want you to do as well as possible. And like I say each and every time, if what you're going through requires professional attention, please go ahead and get it. It's okay. If it's more along the lines, I've got to pause, reboot, I've got to reevaluate who I'm around, what I'm doing, things along those lines, just make sure you take the time you need to kind of slow down the moving parts, get the help that you need so you can be the great person that you're destined to be. For people who are doing great, congratulations. I know many a person with an accomplishment, new job, new pair of shoes, they learned something new to cook, they watched, a show that they want to catch and what have you. So for anyone out there that's doing well, congratulations to you. We want you to continue to feed off of that positive energy and success. Definitely take time to celebrate. Don't go overboard, but definitely take time to celebrate. And let's make sure that we remember our colleagues who might not be doing as well. So even though we're doing great, know that everybody isn't, so we want to have some level of sensitivity to that, and also understand that that might have been you and it could be you, so you want to just as best as possible be kind to people because you never know what they're going through. So having said all that, usually the first Wednesday of each month is when I pick a selection from my library that it's a book I haven't written, even though I've written 3, and there's probably going to be one coming this fall. Just something that I've read that has had an impact on me, and I think it might have an impact, on others. So I'm going to pull a book from the library, and I'm going to go ahead and use, if I can, this particular classic from Richard Wright, a great author, writer, social commentary, things along those lines. And it's going to be a selection from the book Black Boy. So Black Boy. Now at the time, this is actually, I think, a reprint from 1989. I know I'm dating myself, but this is one of the classics. And I want to pull something, as he did a lot on, you know, race and identity and things along those lines. And I'm going to pull something from here. And I think right here, this introductory note is going to be a good start, because while it does touch base about what you're getting into, this is just letting you know about how great an author Richard Wright is. So here it goes. This is the introductory note. Okay, so at the time this was written, I want to say this book is originally published in 1937, so almost 100 years ago. But here's something that's really powerful on why you want to consider discovering or rediscovering Richard Wright. So here it goes. More than 85 years ago, Oliver Wendell Holmes notably said, "It is so much easier to co-sign a soul to perdition, or to say prayers to save it, than to take the blame on ourselves for letting it grow up in neglect and run to ruin. The English law began only in the late 18th century to get a hold of the idea that crime is not necessarily a sin. The limitations of human responsibility have never been properly studied. If Dr. Holmes were alive now, he would be proud, as I am proud, of the chance to help bring to the thoughtful attention of intelligent, morally responsible Americans the honest, dreadful, heartbreaking story of Negro childhood and youth, as set down by that rarely gifted American author, Richard Wright." This comes from Dorothy Canfield Fisher, Arlington, Vermont. So Oliver Wendell Holmes, considered one of the classic authors, writers. And his quote, and I'm going to read this: "It is so much easier to consign a soul to perdition, or to say prayers to say it, than to take the blame on ourselves for letting it grow up in neglect and ruin." So in other words, I hear individual accountability and responsibility, and that sometimes things are our fault. And here's a contemporary piece. When we talk about generations coming behind us and what they're doing and what they're not doing, well, where did they learn it from? Some things we have to take responsibility and accountability for. And here's another thing, and this is interesting. The English law began only in the late 18th century to get a hold of the idea that crime is not necessarily a sin. And a classic example is someone breaks into a grocery store and steals a loaf of bread to feed their family. It's a crime, but is it a sin? Good debate, good question. So these converging thoughts and ideas, these things that are not as rigid, and when we see the byproduct of neglect and things along those lines, is what you have. So even though this particular piece, and I want to reread this again, if Dr. Holmes were alive now, he would be proud, as I am proud, of the chance to help bring to the thoughtful attention of intelligent, morally responsible Americans the honest, dreadful, heartbreaking story of a Negro childhood and youth, as set down by that rarely gifted American author, Richard Wright. So what they're saying is, for folks who really are using their brain and who have a moral compass, and when you're seeing these, I'll say, these issues, these disconnects that started in one's youth, and how that fragmentation has shown up. And it's not just being written by a black author. It is an American author. That's very powerful. So this is not just a black story. It is an American story. And it's one of those, and you've heard this before, if we don't pay attention to certain things, it's going to command our attention. So that's just a takeaway from the introductory note from a great book, a great read. It's pretty intense and driven, but you want to check it out. Richard Wright's Black Boy. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. And really, it is really his story. Let's take a look. take a look. It's really his story. So a book that I will definitely be rereading, as I have read it many moons ago, but I'm going to read it again. So that's our takeaway. Like, some things we do, we're responsible for, directly or indirectly, and we can't just wish it away. We can go ahead and say what we need to kind of get our minds right and spirits right, but ultimately there's got to be some type of action. And you've heard me say this through the faith community: faith without works is dead. So we can do all the incantations we want, but if we don't do any action to do it, we're going to have problems. That's going to be our lesson from today, is that okay to pause, pivot, think, reflect, but eventually we have to do. So I think that's a great takeaway from any time. So having said all that, a couple of real quick things before we clock out. Many thanks to the Gwinnett Stripers. They are the AAA affiliate of the 2021 World Champion Atlanta Braves. So August 30th, I was able to go ahead and throw the ceremonial first pitch. The not so good news is I short hopped it. It did fall about 2-3 feet short of the plate, but it was a true hop, bounced right into the mascot's gloves, so it was straight on. My colleague threw it like a shot put, and that thing went so far left and right, but it was cool. It was a great experience. Look, if you haven't caught a minor league game, definitely catch one. They're accessible, they're fun, intimate, real cool, so definitely check that out. So shouts to the Stripers. Shouts to my team at Stats Network Live TV channel. Thank you again, as just chipping away on a few things, so thank you. The biggest upcoming, I'll say, signing or event is going to be on, Thursday, September 15th at 3:30 p.m. Tune in to WSNC Radio in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It should be 90.1 FM, but I'll double-check the call number. But WSNC Radio, thanks to Jim Steele, I'll be a guest on his show, so I'll talk about the previous books. Might give you a sneak peek for the new book that's going to be coming out this fall. Join me on the campus at Wake Forest University on September 16th from 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be doing a book signing at the main campus bookstore featuring 3 of the books I've already written, information on the audiobooks, and probably the advanced drop on the new book that'll be coming out this fall. So I'm really excited about that. So shouts to the alma mater. About to say, I'm just going to acknowledge something with the city of Nashville. I like y'all, but I don't know. Elements in Nashville have been tripping out. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There was a project that I was going to work on during the summer, and it didn't come to pass. And the same thing happened on another one for the time being. So I don't know what's up with certain elements in Nashville, but y'all get it together. Just get it together. That's all I'm going to say. Trying to think about other stuff that's happening. Guess those are the main things. So, every time I want to say thank you to people taking time to join. I know today was a little bit different as I was on the road, got back, had work to do, was getting some work done, trying to find something. And it's now I see why it didn't happen. And, we'll just go ahead and go from there. But just a couple of real quick things. Just excited about what's on the horizon. Like I said, for those who are on the listserv, there's definitely some things that'll be coming up during the fall that I'm really, really excited about. Looking forward to dropping. I think this next piece will be pretty innovative. So looking forward to it. Just blending the best of what I've already done and putting a little spin on it, but really, really, really excited. And I guess those are really the main things. I'm going to get a little bit of sleep, a little bit tired, as you can tell, but I'm going to get a little bit of rest. But again, to stay connected with me, add me on Facebook at the page Author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Author A. Snorton. To email me, authorsnorton@gmail.com. Make sure to check it out. And of course, when you add me on Instagram, click on the link in the bio. And that way it'll go to my press and media section, so you can download the press and media kit, see all the festivals, speaking engagements, that type of thing, and all the interviews. And there's a new one that's coming up soon once I finish up the questions. So you make sure to stay in tune. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for joining me a little bit later than usual. We'll be back next week. We will be at 10 p.m. because there's some other stuff going on that I'm not at liberty to say, but there's some other stuff going on during the day. So just make sure to check the social media, check the flyer, and we'll do our 15 minutes or so to kind of pause, check up, check in, enjoy a short note, and then call it a day. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support and encouragement. I'm really appreciative of it. As I usually say, whether slow or swift, movement is movement. Whether small or big, a victory is a victory. So keep it moving, keep it victorious. Look forward to seeing you real soon.